No rules when you come out my way. That's why my field stays packed on Fridays. We hunting, fishing, good living, just soaking up every country second we're giving. Yeah, we a long way away from the highway, so go ahead, y'all, you can get sideways. Smoking, sipping, dip spitting, just soaking up every country second you're giving.
Hey, it's Justin Kelly and Laura Starling, the Old Boots podcast, and we're here today with our special guest, Lonnie Smith, owner and president and CEO and half in charge of Bubba Grills, right?
Yes, ma'am. My wife is my silent partner most of the time.
Is she really silent?
No, ma'am. Only when we're behind closed doors.
There we go.
But she's my biggest fan. She's always encouraging, and most of the time she's right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that most of the time she is right.
Absolutely.
I would 100% believe that.
Well, everybody needs a Shannon Smith in their life.
Oh, look at there. He's got the brownie points, and this is going on YouTube forever and ever and ever. You'll be able to watch that over and over again.
Well, Shannon and I are working on our 27th year of marriage, and we're blessed with 4 children and 4 grandchildren, and a partner that helps you pull the wagon.
Right.
Lets you accomplish a lot of things in life. And,
Absolutely.
We don't see eye to eye, and people see us sometime and think we're going to fight. But I never doubt that her difference in opinion doesn't have my best interest in heart. You know?
Right.
Yes.
So that when you got somebody, that's the way my parents were. I watched my parents, and I think that's the most you can ask for in a spouse.
Absolutely. Yeah,
He's on your side.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, having that little bit of opposite is a good thing. You know, you don't want to. You can't agree on everything, then you might be making the wrong step there.
Well, she's originally from Houston, Texas, and when we started cooking barbecue for 20 years, all I heard was, "That's pretty good brisket, but it ain't Texas brisket." Well, lo and behold, one day I got, "Wow, that's really good brisket," and she left off the Texas part, so we knew we had arrived.
Oh, man. That's when you knew you had made it.
Yep.
People do say that Texas barbecue is different than other barbecue. Do you find that to be true?
I think,
Or did they just think it's different?
well, you got to realize the most obnoxious people in the world, the only people in the world more obnoxious than Texas people is Georgia people. Okay. So
Yeah.
we're pretty obnoxious about what we do too. But the internet, the YouTube channels, the teaching classes, and TV has really made the country, as far as a barbecue world, very eclectic.
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, they were drastically different than what you see here. There was North Carolina style barbecue, Kansas City style barbecue. But I feel pretty confident that I can take our flavor profile and go anywhere in the country and do really well with it. So it's melding because of things like this podcast. If I got and did a brisket podcast, somebody would pick up a little something out of my podcast that they might use in Texas.
Right.
But you've got people like Aaron Franklin who have a line starting at 3:00 in the morning, and it's all about, if you go to Austin, Texas, go get an Aaron Franklin brisket.
Yeah, we went over there. We went this summer, and I mean, it was unbelievable. 9:00 in the morning, and I bet there were 200 people in the parking lot. 9:00 in the morning.
Now, do you think that's from them being featured on like Food Network or something like that made it that popular, or?
Well, I think it's a culmination of several things. Everybody needs a little notoriety to get your brand out there. But people forget that all the days that Aaron's been cooking world-class briskets now, probably 30 years. So back when nobody could cook a brisket, Aaron was maybe heads and tails above everybody else. I think maybe the world's catching up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can pull up, his class online. I think it's $199, and he teaches you to do exactly what he does inside his, it might be a little spin he puts on it or, whatever. But, I mean, there's so much information out there to learn how to exactly do something. I mean, it's probably harder and harder to have that secret sauce, isn't it?
Well, people forget here in Georgia, Myra Mixon holds a class every month.
Right.
We'll have up to 100 students from around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And people ask me, what do I think about Myra? Myram's divisiveness, whether you loved him or hated him, he's almost like Dale Earnhardt.
Yep.
You remember I was at the race where Dale Earnhardt got killed. If you'd have give half the people the gun, they'd have shot you, and the other half would have died defending Dale Earnhardt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But he drove NASCAR to a level that we haven't seen since. Myron Mixon and his divisiveness has driven barbecue to a level that's allowed me to make a living with my little niche that I've cut out. So all the kudos and all the praise to a 5-time world champion, something. The year we won our world championship, when I come off the stage, the first person to hug my neck was Myron. He said, "You go get there, money boy." So I have nothing but praise for Myron Mixon.
I'm a big fan of his, and he's about to open a restaurant in Gatlinburg.
Oh, really?
I think it opens next week.
Myron's, I tell you, the restaurant business, Justin, you have got to be tough, dude. That is a hard thing to do nowadays. The margins that you guys are working off of, and finding people who are committed to the product as you are. So I wish Myron nothing but the best.
Yeah, the restaurant business is tighter than ever. You got a lot of variables. We were just talking about this on the podcast yesterday with Mr. Buddy, but I mean, you got insurance is always on the rise. Stuff that people don't even see is always on the rise. And then things like waste and people that are coming in and trying to hoodoo you into giving them something free and trying to scam you. All those things affect every customer you have and increases the cost on everybody. So you're having to watch it harder and harder and harder all the time. And you don't see that food truck price does not go down.
Nothing
it never
ever
seems
seems to go backwards, does it?
No.
I mean, once it goes up, it never goes back.
It does not go backwards.
It is wild. So, Mr. Lonnie, you know, we know you're Bubba Grills, and you've been doing Bubba Grills for how long?
This is our 21st competitive season.
Okay.
We've done about 250 contests, and we've won 65 championships.
Wow.
Man.
So we've world champions twice, national champions, 7-time Georgia state champion.
And you've been building the grills for how long? For 21 years as well?
Well, we built our first one in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, my son, and I, for his Father's Day gift.
Right.
In the late 90s, I was piddling, building one or two, and I built one, put it out by the road, and it sat there 8 days, and I sold it.
Mm-hmm.
We've built almost 3,000 since then.
Wow.
Shipped them all over the world. China, Australia, Great Britain, Cayman Islands,
Right.
Brazil. So it's a cool thing. The internet makes the world a very small place.
Oh, absolutely. I can remember being in high school and riding by your place out there. I had no idea who you were. You know, I couldn't have spotted you in a crowd, but Mr. Bubba Grill lived right there. You know, right? That's where he's at, man. You were our claim to fame in Jones County. You've made a world famous grill and cooked world famous barbecue. Everybody, they might not have knew you, but they knew where you lived and knew who you were. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I called it my Walmart dream back then. One time we had a dream to build one a week or one a month. Then it got to be one a week. And then it got to be 2 or 3 a week. And let's go win a barbecue contest. And I never dreamed to walk across the stage at the World Championship with your son and your wife and your nephews and your daughters is a cool thing. Be a world champion at anything is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have a spirit of perfectionism that just every time I talk to you, like I told you, you're the calmest person I've ever got to talk with.
Hang around me at a competition and that'll change, I promise.
But you know, you just level headed, man, and I mean, it just perfectionism just runs off of you, man. And that's what right before the podcast I said, hey, you got time to make me one of them grills? So anything you do, I'm a fan of, man, and you always are a light to the community and help out in any way you can doing for anybody, you know. And so,
well, that started years ago when the Relay for Life was such a big deal in Jones County.
right.
My parents, Lonnie and Betty Sr., Lonnie Sr. and Betty that lived out on the highway, they used to run a team, and several years we were a Gold Star team.
Mm-hmm.
I think they raised almost $250,000 in 10 years.
Wow.
For us to give Relay for Life.
That's
and then
wonderful.
we'd come out here and cook and sell butts and things in the community. And that was one of my favorite times of year, was to see the community come together at the track and hang out. And so I really do miss those days. When that all changed, that went away.
I definitely miss that. We talk about it every single Miracle Treat Day. I believe that, you know, it was kind of dead already before COVID. Relay for Life was. Those last couple of years was really just, it didn't really work out. They were just going through the motions. But COVID sure enough put a stop to it. But, you know, I believe that is one reason why Miracle Treat Day got the breath of fresh air that it did and took off like a rocket, because you know, there's nothing for the town to rally around to do something good anymore. You know, the Relay for Life was gone. And, man, I can just remember being out there and y'all would cook all night long I mean, we'd be there till the next morning till the sun come up. People be walking, be music going. It was just the biggest event. And it might not be as big as what I remember it being because I was young, but I mean, that was just a good time.
We cooked, one year we cooked 187 Boston butts and, and 400 pounds of French fries.
Ooh-wee.
And we had sold and cooked and stuff ahead of time. So that night, my father had a really good philosophy. We were going to put so much on your plate that we were just breaking even that night at the track because we'd already made our money.
Right.
So people would come up with families, and my daddy would feed them, and he wore his overalls every day. And to see that smile on his face, really, really, that's where my love of cooking come from. My mom and dad. If you look, Miss Betty's been in the paper several times. When Jamie Oliver, the chef, came from England,
right,
he came to the house when we were doing the TV show. To see a world famous chef and your mother sitting at the table for 2 hours discussing dinner is pretty cool.
Absolutely. Not many people get to see that.
Not many.
Absolutely.
So when did you start cooking barbecue?
It believe it or not, it was like a way to promote the grills. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But now let me back up. As a child growing up, every 4th of July, we go down to Telfair County, Georgia. That's where my parents are from. And my great uncles would raise the pig, shoot the pig, slaughter the pig. And for 2 days, we'd have the pig cooked over the 3 cement blocks. And 100 people, look like my grandmama, would show up on Sunday. And remember the white bed sheets for tablecloths and the 15-layer chocolate cake?
Oh, yeah.
Pans and all. I mean, I don't have any better childhood memories. So
right.
I've always had the barbecue and that stuff embedded in me. But people forget that in the late 1990s, early 2000s, the internet was still in its infancy.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go somewhere and log on or dial up. So the first 3 or 4 competitions we ever went to, I carried 200 pounds of barbecue and we cooked it and give it away. And I didn't even turn in a product. It was a way to promote. I'd find a festival with 50,000 people coming to it. We'd go give the barbecue away and say, hey, you can cook this too. And we'd go to Lakeland, Florida every year, sell 7 to 10 pull behind smokers,
right,
giving away 200 pounds of barbecue. And then 2004, I was in Callaway Gardens, and the lady said, you've already paid for the spot. You might as well turn some meat in. I said, okay. So we were third in pork, 5th in ribs, and won the sauce. And won a barbecue trophy about that tall and $100. And I've spent $500,000 trying to win another barbecue trophy ever since then. So but that's where it all got started. And it was a way to, with family. It's always been about my kids and my wives and my sister and brother-in-law, Danny and Julie Robertson. The Davidsons, Paul and Crystal, now are a big part of us traveling. And now we do the ones we really want to do. They're a lot of fun. Galax, Virginia, every year in July.
Right.
77 degrees. We go over to Montgomery, Alabama, to Pusacue, which is the Alabama Championship. They give away trophies that are 6 foot tall that you can't hardly tote. A lot of fun right on the river there. The casino puts you up for $99 a night. Memphis in May. We leave Saturday.
Right.
A 31-member team. We have 9 turn-ins. We'll feed 100 people from Kingsford, 100 people from McCormick's, and 100 VIPs.
Right.
And it's about a $27,000 adventure to go do this. That's the reason you saw all those names on the back of the shirt.
Absolutely.
Those people are coming and hanging out with us, and it's a way to help offset some of the cost. And
right. So you're going to have close to 30 people with you.
Absolutely. And what's fun about that is they have all the little minor categories. They're called ancillaries. So those people will be cooking the ancillaries on Thursday and Friday before we get to the whole hog, which is our champion category on Saturday. And last year we were second in whole hog, missed it by 0.8.
Wow.
0.8 of a point. So, but that's, hey, it was to get to go on the stage and be that close is pretty cool. When a big old pretty black trophy that sits in the office.
And all your friends and family go with you. And I mean, it's just something that you guys will never forget. I mean, that's something a lot of people don't even go to Walmart together no more, much less go to Memphis in May and, it is rock the whole barbecue scene.
it is a cool deal. I've got family coming from Texas to hang out with us.
Right.
People that you see, you run into people at events that the only place you see them is at the race every year.
At that,
right.
Yes.
But they're dear, you would consider them a dear friend that you see twice a year.
That's right.
There's a gentleman named Pat Burke. And if you want to understand the history of barbecue and where it was the generation before me, go look up a gentleman named Pat Burke. Absolutely a class act. And won, I think, Memphis in May 5 or 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
When he sees you from across the room, if he likes you, he's going to come hug your neck. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about getting to see Mr. Pat next week.
Absolutely. So, when you're in Memphis in May up there, I mean, are you pushing the grills and the smokers and all that kind of stuff? Or are you're going after the meat and potatoes? You're going to try to win that, or is it a fine medium where you're trying to balance it, or you just really trying to win Memphis in May?
Well, we're always trying to sell a grill.
I got you.
But
I think Justin might be interested in one.
yeah, I think we need to sell one here around the county. And so, but we are so focused on Saturday,
right?
But having fun on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to get to Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
When people come up, the reason you saw the shirt we gave you, everybody that's going from my team will have a fresh shirt to wear every day.
Mm-hmm.
So if I look across the spot and there's a gentleman in the cooler and he's got a gray shirt on, I don't worry who it is. And so if I tell them all, if you see somebody you know, somebody you want to have in, and I think we're having wings one night. We're having my son makes a really good buffalo chicken dip.
Right.
Having buffalo chicken dip one night.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things.
Oh, he kills it. And so talking about cooks, my son Lonnie the third, that's probably the best barbecue cook I know.
Really?
He is world class, dude. I think that's every aspiration is that your son passes you in what your passion is.
Right.
And he has run slap over me. He is a great cook.
That is awesome. So when you're good at something, you use the best tools to do it. So if you're a mechanic, if you consider Snap-on the best, you get Snap-on. If you're in the barbecue business, you're going to get the best smoker that you physically know how to build or that you can possibly buy. But then, you see people, and I don't know this. I didn't ask this to Myron because I didn't know if he just gets paid for it to promote it, that kind of thing. But using the best meat is also an important thing. And, he's all about he associates with Snake River. And I don't know if that's just TV and he gets a little kickback or something, or if he actually believes in Snake River that much or whatever. But is there one that you
absolutely
go with? Mm-hmm.
First off, Snake River Farms is great meat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our stuff that we have in competition comes from the butcher shop in Panama City, Florida. When we do a KCBS, that's where our A9 Australian Wagyu briskets come from. And people say, can it be that good? It's about $20 a pound.
Right.
Raw. But yes. It's like the difference between sweet and unsweet tea, baby.
And you'll drive all the way to Panama City to pick it up and then head to Memphis with it.
They'll ship it to you.
Really?
They'll overnight ship it to you. You call Kevin down there. Anybody. Listen, if you're the king of the backyard, and 90% of us, that's what we are. We just want to cook better food in the backyard. If you want to up your game, look up the butcher shop in Pensacola, Florida, and tell them, and they make an A3, an A5, an A7. Tell them to send you a brisket.
Right.
And try one of their briskets. It's carrying a gun to a knife fight, and everything we do is about confidence.
Right.
I have a particular kind of rub that I'm going to go, whether I use it or not, I'm going to carry it with me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And we make our own injection. For everybody that's listening, I'll give you one hint about injection that people never think about. I was watching my mother make pickles one day, old-fashioned sweet pickles where they soak them in the lime overnight and then they cook the vinegar.
Oh, yeah.
And I would walk in the house and I would just want to eat them right then. But you have to wait 6 weeks. Well, when we were injecting our meat, if we wanted it a little more salty or a little more savory, 85% of what you put in the meat's coming out no matter what you do.
Right.
So one day I watched my mom make pickles and I thought about it. Our injection that we're carrying to Memphis was made in February. So it's set and rested and melded just like the vinegar around the pickles. Because I remember Mama used to put a pepper in some jars. The pickles get a little hot.
Right.
She put onion bulbs in some jars and they get sweet like the pickles. And so doing that, I can dictate that the 15% that stays behind tastes just like the 85% that comes out. So if I decide, we all say in general, I want to make it a little saltier.
Right.
I can make the batch a little bit saltier and it will be saltier 3 months from now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's that. And the other thing, we burn onions in the fire. People never think about it, but when you light your fireplace at home and it has that musky smell the first time, and okay, a lot of the nutwoods that we burn, the oaks and the hickories and the pecan, have a little bit of tart in the smoke and in the bark. So we take raw onions and cut them in quarters, and every time we add firewood, I throw a half an onion in the fire. to the point that the
at that.
Vidalia Onion Council sends me onions. Okay.
That's
We're not
awesome,
sponsored by them, but
There we go. You'll take them.
Yeah. 4 big boxes showed up last week. So anytime you want to try, and all you're doing is an onion is sugar water.
Right.
So you're making the smoke with a hint of sweet and cutting some of that tart out of it.
Well,
That's amazing.
oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something else you do with those Vidalia onions.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever made a Vidalia onion pie?
I haven't, but I love an onion in just about everything.
Onion pie sounds terrible, but it is delicious.
Onion pie.
Because it's got those onions, it's got bacon, it's got cheese. My mom used to make these onion pies. Oh,
Well, you have to share that recipe with me because I'm always loving to try something.
man. And it kind of, when you think about pie, you think about something sweet. But this was the onion pie. It does have a little bit of that sweet Vidalia onion taste, but then mixed with that bacon and cheese and baked. Oh,
Sounds good.
I'll
Listen,
get that recipe for you.
I'd love bacon makes anything good, baby. That's the reason I can't swim in the ocean, right?
Right.
Because I've eaten so much pork that I leave this greasy trail, and a shark would swim right by you because I know I am a delicious human being. You know what I mean? So I can't even go in the ocean anymore because I would be number one. They'd eat the fat guy that tastes like bacon.
I just thought about this when you started talking about the ocean, but you use top quality food too. But there was this one time when we opened up Ranchers, y'all came by or Crystal came by or something and grabbed those just meat sale shrimp that I used to sell. And I mean, just the ones that were on sale. And they took them over to Alabama and they won that competition with those cheap shrimp from Ranchers. Okay.
Paul Davison. Paul Davison is a dear friend of mine. Okay. And in the barbecue world, when someone new shows up, Paul and I have been cooking together about 4 years now. So I introduced him as Chef Paul. And then everybody looks like Chef who? And now I'm introducing him as Dr. Chef Paul. So his name tag gets longer. He gets no more money, but we were at the Alabama State Championship and they had a seafood category and everybody had turned in these most elaborate things. Paul took the shrimp, wrapped them one time in bacon, cooked them on a Blackstone, basted them with one of our barbecue sauces, and was the Alabama State Champion.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, sometimes simple is better, and it was
Yes.
good. It was really good. So listen, to have Chef Paul and Crystal and Brooke hanging out with us, and we met them when their daughter Brooke and my midlife surprise Gracie were in the same toddler room at the daycare. Paul and I would pass in the hallway. That's how we met.
Wow. Yeah, so they called me and or she wrote me on Facebook and told me, you'll never believe this, but those shrimp are now the state championship shrimp for Alabama. I was like, there we go. So the next week, I had to advertise it on Facebook that those were award-winning shrimp now.
You guys have a great selection of meats down there. There's nothing wrong with that. Listen, I can go anywhere and buy good meat and come up with a flavor profile that works. It's the subtle differences most people will never notice. You guys do a great job at Ranchers. Paul loves your breakfast biscuits down there. I love the fact that restrooms are clean and people smile at you and I can get in and out. So
there you go.
More power to you. Thanks for what you do for Jones County.
Well, thank you. Ms. Laura, you got something? I keep cutting you off, so.
No. I'm fascinated and amazed by people who can cook. I know Justin can cook, and I'm just not a cook. I'd rather make mud pies in the yard. I'm a girl. I'm a garden girl. But I'm always fascinated by people who can cook, and I'm always looking for, shortcuts on how to make something good. And that's the thing about winning barbecue championships and seafood championships and whatever you're doing is you don't shortcut.
No,
right?
no, man. It's a very complicated regimen.
Yeah.
I want to mention two things. My wife is a wonderful cook, but it's more of a labor than a passion.
Mm-hmm.
My mother is a wonderful cook, but she goes in the kitchen and whirls around like Aunt Bee, and it comes out and it's perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So and now my wife is an oncology nurse. She saves lives every day, and there's no doubt she is great at what she does.
Right.
But whatever you're great at comes really easy to you. When we were teaching this class this last weekend, we were cooking really good briskets and ribs, and we fed 8 congressmen from the United States Western Caucus Foundation or whatever. They were out there doing something, and to watch them go crazy over our baby back ribs and brisket, is awesome. And there we had some A9 Wagyu. Let me back up. No, we did not. We had Snake River Golds,
Mm-hmm.
and we had some lesser expensive briskets, and they were running a trial at this place to see which one they wanted to cook.
Right.
And so that's what you got to do is one more little hint on brisket, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's hear it. We got the king right here. Let's do it. Let's hear it.
Go to Sam's or Piggly Wiggly,
Right.
or Ingles, and buy you a brisket. As long as the cryovac is not torn and it's still vacuum sealed, carry it home and lay it in the refrigerator for 30 days.
Really?
Let that brisket age 30 days, and you change it by one whole grade. Okay?
Wow.
Now, when you cut it open, it may have a little bit of a smell to it, but all that is the blood. You wash that, it goes away. You can't do pork that way. Even our competition A9s, we aged them 30 days, right on with a magic marker when they were aged, and put them in the freezer, getting ready to use them. But go and buy your brisket, trim it up nicely, age it 30 days, and it'll be really good.
I'm going to do that.
Well, that's a good tip because I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't let anything stay in my refrigerator for 30 days.
Well, that's the reason I don't drink beer. All the guys got a beer refrigerator, right? I have a meat refrigerator, so my wife lets me get away with that. But
It stays out of the way out there, huh?
absolutely. And, but there's a barbecue world's growing. If someone was to ask me what I thought my biggest contribution to barbecue was,
Mhm.
going back 20, 25 years ago, there were no classes. There were no schools to go take. There was no internet to learn from. In my previous life, I was a process engineer. So documenting processes and repeatability and understanding how to get better, that's what we did. Before me, most barbecue teams had a pid master and 5 helpers.
Right.
When we won the Ohio State Championship, my son cooked the chicken and the brisket. My wife cooked the ribs, and I cooked the pork. Because if I'm only focusing on one thing, all I've got to do is make sure I don't drop that ball.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got one person responsible for everything, every little thing they miss just chain links down the deal.
Right.
And that changed barbecue. That was not thought of that way. So if someone was to ask me what was my biggest contribution in my mind, we were one of the first teams that put process engineering thought processes in cooking barbecue.
That's really good. I mean, it takes that mind, though, to be thinking about that because, like you said, for most people, and that's been that way for probably several hundred years, people just get together and, I mean, I'm sure people competed with barbecue back in the early 1900s. That was just, cookout and cooking competitions or whatever. But, that's a game changer. And you just got one guy out there that every little thing he misses, it degrades that product just a little bit. And if you're not missing anything and you're doing the process right.
In the early 2000s, we were mediocre with our ribs. If there were 10 teams, we'd be 5th. If there were 50 teams, we'd be 25th in the middle. So I was trying to figure out how to get better.
Right.
So there were 6 people cooking with me on our team at that time. So everyone had an assignment. They were to go home and develop a sauce and come back with a process. And I got 36 racks of ribs, and I invited 27 people to my house, most of them certified barbecue judges. And I had a 40-question questionnaire. And you remember the little standardized test when we were in school that question 7 would say the glass is half empty?
Right.
And then question 37 would say the glass is half full, and they want to see how you responded.
Right.
I did that same mentality in the questions. And so all of us cooked 6 racks of ribs, each of our processes, each of our sauces. We labeled them. Everybody came by, got 6 different ribs. They went and set them in the yard. They answered the 40-question questionnaire, and then we broke out the beer, and we sat there for 2 hours, and we talked about it. And if most everyone said A, I went and looked at why someone picked B and C.
Right.
Because, I was looking for the outliers. Got to get the outliers under the umbrella to dominate, right? Well, we took from that my son's process and my red sauce, and you can see almost instantly we went to winning. But we had to sit down. Yeah, we had to sit down and think about how to do that with a group of people.
Right.
And that was
something that sticks out. You gotta shine above the rest. And
if you don't change something, you're going
same result.
Same result every time.
What does a week look like at Memphis in May?
All right, we'll leave here at 6:00 Saturday morning. We'll drive to Memphis. We'll unhook the trailers Saturday afternoon. We'll spend Monday and Tuesday rounding up the things that we need up there. Things you don't think about. 5 cases of kale, a case of green leaf lettuce, a case of collards. We'll go through 30 cases of water, 20 cases of beer, and 20 cases of soda. We'll go through 100 pounds of chicken wings, 12 pounds of butter. So we'll go and arrange all that and get our site set up. And I'll share a couple of pictures of the site from last year. It was really sharp. Wednesday morning, most people start showing up. We'll set the site up. They'll have on-site security after that, so you can worry about people stealing your stuff. Thursday morning at 1 o'clock, I have 100 people from Kingsford coming that we'll feed. We have to turn in 3 sauces, turkey, and another ancillary on Thursday. Thursday afternoon, we feed 100 VIPs. Thursday night for the team, we're going to have wings and fries. Oh, fries. We do a home-cut French fry, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Peel a white potato, cut it irregularly,
Right.
sort of small. Take white onions, sweet vidalias, and cut them in slivers. Keep them nice and wet. Take a double handful of flour, throw on them, salt and pepper, and a little bit of onion powder, and we toss them and fry them. They're not really battered. They just have the crisp. And those onion slivers fry up really, really crisp. And I would wish to tell you that everybody in Memphis knows us for our barbecue. They don't. They know us for our freaking
For your French fries.
The French fries are a huge hit. So we'll cook 100 pounds of French fries on Thursday. And Friday, we'll turn in seafood. My wife and Crystal make a lobster and shrimp and crab macaroni and cheese. We'll turn in beef, which will be a brisket. We'll turn in chicken, which will be chicken leg quarters. And we'll turn in an exotic, which will be a bison brisket stuffed baked potato.
Wow.
Oh, they are to die for.
You get all the bison and everything from them in Panama City too?
You can order that guy here. My wife gets it out of Atlanta.
Okay.
And then Friday afternoon, we feed 100 people from McCormick's. And then we do the buffalo chicken dip, a couple things for dinner. And then we'll get people to stay up all night Friday night cooking the pig. Last year, the 2 pigs weighed 242 and 252 pounds.
Ooh.
And it takes about an hour for every 10 pounds to cook a pig.
I've always wondered what's the optimum pig size, because we can buy them whole and get them shipped right there to ranchers, but I don't know. I mean, because some of them you can buy a 50-pound pig, you can buy 100-pound. I'm like, I don't know, man. What would you say if you were doing one out back on a smoker at the house? What would be the optimum size?
Well,
pig?
the 250 smoker you and I were talking about earlier,
Yes,
I can cook a 120-pound pig.
Okay.
With his head and feet on, and that's quite a bit. First off, now remember, cooking a whole hog is the least efficient way to serve pork there is. Only about 43% yield.
Gotcha.
Whereas a Boston butt's going to get you about 65% yield. So you're paying the same for tongue, eyeballs, ears, and feet that you do.
You just showing off when you buy a big
that's
hog.
exactly right. When you put it up there, baby, it looks good. And
yeah.
when the judges walk up on Saturday, Shannon and them will decorate with vegetables and all kind of little things. And it's really, really, you've got to differentiate yourself because the guy next to you is cooking great barbecue too.
Oh, absolutely.
Every little thing adds up to differentiate yourself. But there's 2 I've ordered this year. I've asked for 200 pounders, and they usually get it within 10 pounds.
Awesome.
250 was a little too big.
And they deliver them to you in May up in Memphis?
No, our pigs this year are coming from Dexter Meat down in Dexter, Georgia.
Okay.
Mr. Matt Sapp, listen, one day when you get someone wants to take a nice little drive, it's only about an hour down the interstate, he makes fresh sausage, and they put cane syrup in sausage.
Really?
Oh.
Dude. It is too.
It's called Dexter sausage?
Dexter Meats.
Okay.
Mr. Matt Sapp in Dexter, Georgia.
Okay.
And he also makes a thing called a chicken bomb, which is a filleted chicken breast with shredded cheese and jalapeno wrapped in bacon.
Oh.
I got to get down to Dexter.
You need to go see that guy.
We need to go today.
Yeah. Listen, Matt just came to see me this morning. We're excited. I'll use his sausage inside of my hog next week.
Right.
And we're getting both our hogs from there. Yep.
That's great. Maybe we'll have us a Memphis in May winter with a Georgia hog there. So
that would be. I'm scared to dream that. Our goal every year is to hear our name called.
Right.
And then last year to be top 2 was awesome.
Right.
But man, if you win that, you can't tell me nothing. Canada have to tie me to the bumper to hold me down coming home.
In a lot of competitions, there's something that they call it the great equalizer, I guess. So if you're a worse football team than the people you're about to play, you kind of want it to rain. You know what I mean? You want to equalize it. Is the weather an equalizer, or is it will it mess you up? Or, like the people that everybody considers really good, do they want it to be cold on you guys? They want it to be. I mean, what is the preference? Is there factor to the weather that helps out the more rookie type?
It's going to rain.
Okay.
In Memphis, it's going to rain. Okay. There's no doubt it's going to rain.
Right.
Believe it or not, about half the teams there will beat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Something will happen. They'll miss the ball. They'll get drunk,
Mm-hmm.
But the 10 or 15 who are capable of winning the whole thing, they're too professional, too much money.
Right.
Like I said, Lee Smith, Tim Coleman, Stuart Barr, Christian Collins from Panaprint out there in Warner Robins. These are all who are part of my team. That these guys, they're at that point, it's all about a pig.
Oh yeah.
I tell you, it's amazing that your whole career you can pick out moments. Last year,
Right.
You cook a hog for preliminaries and a hog for finals. Okay. And the hog for finals is staggered by about 4 hours because that group of judges, should you make the top 3, would come later. So Lee's in the cook trailer, and we've pulled the loin out of the first pig. And Lee looks at me, and Lee just goes, "Daddy, the loin ain't real good." And you got a 15-minute turn-in window, and we're inside of that window. I run out to the other cooker. I had some insulated gloves on. I reached up inside, tore the middle out of the second pig, cut the loin out, run back in the cook trailer, put it down. I said, "Cut this." And he sliced it. His words were, "It's perfect." So on the fly, we made a decision because if you don't make the top 3, that second pig is never seen or tasted anyway.
Yeah.
So that's probably 10 years ago. I wouldn't have trusted my son enough to do that.
Right.
10 years ago, I wouldn't have let him be making the box. And I don't know that I would have been self-aware enough to realize that it wasn't that good.
Right.
But as a team, that's probably one of our proudest moments. And then 2 of the 3 judges came back later and go, "The loin was the best piece of meat I ate all day."
Oh, wow.
So
it was worth it.
App's worth every minute of it. So that's a shining moment in our barbecue career.
Oh, awesome. I know y'all going up there to have a good time, man. That is there's not a lot of people that get to do that. Are you going to be? Is Myron going to be up there? Do you know?
Absolutely. In fact, last year we finaled against Myron.
Okay.
3 hog finalists last year were the Shed,
Mm-hmm.
Myron, and myself, and we finished in the middle.
The Shed, they make the sauce like at Walmart. You can buy the Shed sauce. Is that
right? And they own a huge restaurant down in Mississippi.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like an experience down there. It's a cool place, and they're Brad Orson and their family. They do a great job, and good people, man. Yeah, his looks a little like Howdy Doody, but he's okay.
Oh man. What you got, Ms. Laura? I keep butting in, and I feel like I'm taking.
No, I'm just enjoying sitting back, and like I said, you guys are cooks. I'm just a eater.
Well,
I like to eat some food now.
In fact, we fed you several times when you were at places. Remember when they had the big contest in Macon?
Yes,
NBA championships. We won that contest downtown, and that afternoon, all 3 TV stations were there. So they were doing their 15-minute update between 5 and 6.
Right.
We'd feed them. And we had one of the real big fancy fold-out cookers. And the next day when we won, one of the guys walked up and he said, "When I got here yesterday and I see the news crews, I just knew you were going to win." And I said, "You know what that tells me?" And he goes, "What?" It says, "You ought to get your own news crew." He didn't think that was funny, but I thought it was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
It was, but I think we fed you that day down there. But
you probably did. I'm sure you did. And in fact, I'm thinking about before we leave here today, I'm going to give you my phone number, so you guys, can invite me over when you're cooking at the house.
There you go.
What you need to do is, our schedules are often busy, but when there's something that's important to you or a charity, and you need a little something done, you need to let us step up and help you. We really realize where all our blessings come from, and we're members over at Haddock Baptist Church. We go over and do that, and so Lord blesses me and my family every day. So when there's something that's important to you, we would love to impress someone.
You guys are going to have it down in Haddock at Haddock Baptist. You guys are going to have a big health fair coming up in August. Did you know that?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, listen, I'm going to brag on my church.
Okay.
There you go.
This past Sunday was a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
We had over 200 people come together for a breakfast on Sunday morning. And rather than going in for worship, they went out in the community and they built ramps, cleaned up yards, packed over 300 meals for the meal center.
Right.
So we dedicated our Sunday
That's
going out and doing that. And that, man, I was so
that's so
proud.
special.
Oh yeah.
It is to see people walk out of the church and go into the community and do something positive like that. Makes me very proud. Our pastor, Hambrick Brooks, and his family, and Trito, who is our music minister and all. We just got a great thing going on over there. And if you're looking for a good Christian place to go to church, Haddock Baptist Church might just be the place.
There you go. Got the plug right there.
Yep.
Y'all heard it straight from the source. So, I mean, talking about good things and doing, charity work, cooking and charity work goes hand in hand a lot of times. And I mean, I know I've seen, firsthand you sell Boston butts and do this, that, and the other for charities. We always ask, what's the biggest charity event or the thing that you'll never forget, the one that you're like, man, that happened? Was it pretty much Relay for Life, or was there something that sticks out to you in your mind that was like just a home run one time and you were like, wow?
There's a company out of Milledgeville called Big American,
mm-hmm.
and they are a transportation company for another unnamed company.
Mm-hmm.
And in today's world, companies have to be really careful what they associate their name with. But they paid for us to go to the Georgia State Patrol Training Center.
Right.
And we fed 1,974 police officers and family over there. That
wow.
was
great.
And then they paid for us last summer. We spent 10 days in Texas. We fed 1,700 police officers and first responders in Texas. That Big American picked up the bill for us to go out there and do that. All the family had to do is walk in, sit down, and have dinner.
Wow.
And then so those adventures, as I get older, Relay for Life, because my family and I was there,
Absolutely.
we had some great times.
Mm-hmm.
These things are a lot of fun. The guy I was talking to earlier today, the class we're going to do in San Angelo is for veterans. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. We get to go do something like that.
Man, if you put on a class out there in Haddock, I got to come. I got to come to you.
Well, you need to just come one weekend and hang out with us.
Right.
Just to see. People say, well, it can't be that good. I promise you, when we were finishing 10th through 15th, I'd get so aggravated because I'd say there's no way in the world it was that much better than mine. It is. There's some food out there right now, and we're cooking some of it.
Right.
There's some food out there that just will absolutely blow your socks off.
Well, I know your time is valuable, and I'm not trying to drag it on, but I enjoy talking about this kind of stuff. But on the circuit, is there a certain thing that is a certain maybe style of smoker that is what people use the most, or like maybe a certain brand name that everybody uses the most that's like the winningest brand name in the business? Is there such a thing?
Well, they're very eclectic because
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people building cooking.
Right.
10 years ago, the gravity feeds,
mm-hmm.
assassins, and the stumps and all were very, very popular.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, keep in mind that I can take a hubcap and cook pretty good barbecue on it.
I believe you.
I just have to work.
I would eat it right off the hubcap with you.
That too.
I would just have to work harder at it.
Right.
And so people forget we live in a capitalist society.
Right.
If I can spend more money and work harder to beat you, I'll win.
Mm-hmm.
And the stick burners is a very, very wonderful flavor profile. It was just a little harder to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but they're coming back to the stick burners. Listen, when I show up at a stick burner, they know they have to beat Bubba Grills.
There you go.
And I used to think about that when we were first starting out and we weren't doing well. I'd show up and I'd walk by and I'd go, I've beat them. I've never beat them. I beat them once. They beat my head in. And we used to call it the row of death.
Right.
You walk down through there trying to figure out, okay, well, we should be fifth.
Oh, yeah.
I don't do that no more. Now we just go and do our game and see what the chips fall.
And so there's no kind of outlawed like cooker that you can't use that particular type thing in there. You can just show up with what you bring and run what you brought to the track kind of thing.
I can't speak for every sanctioning body,
mm-hmm.
but that has really relaxed a lot. The pellet cookers, we taught class 2 weeks ago, my son and I up at the Rec Tech Academy in Augusta. Listen, the chicken we're cooking next week in Memphis is on a Rec Tech.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I tell, and they all laugh at me. They call my grills SOB, some other brand.
Right.
But if I'm not cooking on a Bubba grill, I'm cooking on a Rec Tech.
That's awesome.
It's like a convection oven.
Yeah, I mean,
it just sits there and does its thing.
We're just talking about those pellet grills. That's what I was getting to. Is we went to me and a couple of buddies from high school. We went and cooked in a green egg competition. Well, there were people that do that a lot. They go to all these different places to do that, but they finished, and I'm not going to name that pellet grill, but we all know what pellet grill that was. Okay, they finished it over there on the side on that pellet grill. They were not finishing the food and it ended up getting, the next year they outlawed those pellet grills. Right. You had to finish it on an egg to be in the egg competition, which makes sense.
Well, doesn't Ace used to sponsor an egg cook-off every year here in town.
And they would. I don't know if they sat over there, but this was at a different place. But they were over there finishing the food
right
on those pellet grills.
It's about people who have ethics.
Right.
I mean, if you want to cheat, cheat at anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about the barbecue community is, up until the moment that it all goes down, they'll share. If I need tinfoil or gloves or butter, I can walk over there to that guy and he'll give it to me and I'll give it to him.
Right.
And then whoever finals in Memphis, the 3 or 4 teams around them will walk up and say, what can we help you do? What do you need to be successful?
Right.
And like anything else, if me and you were playing tennis, I'd want to beat your head in while you had a racket.
Right.
Then I'd buy you dinner when we got through. You know what I mean? So, exactly. So that's the way the barbecue world is. But there's tons of different sanctioning bodies. If you want to get involved in barbecue, there's the Georgia Barbecue Association. It's here in Georgia. Great people. Greg Hoyt is the president right now, and they've really got a lot of really cool things going on. The KCBS, Kansas City Barbecue Society, they do the brisket, the chicken, the ribs, and the pork. Right. They're probably the more of them than anything else. Right. Then you got the Memphis Barbecue Network where they cook the whole hog. That's my favorite right now. We haven't been out of the top 10 in 5 years in a whole hog.
And you don't plan on doing it this year?
No. We want to. That's our. Listen, it's just gaudy.
Oh,
When you open up that cooker and they lays that 200-pound pig, it's just beautiful.
I can't wait to see the write up when when you guys knock it out of the park and get.
We thank you. I would like to share. People ask me where we get the name from, Bubba Grill.
Right.
When we were looking for the name of a company back in the late 90s, we had built a little grill that fit in the receiver hitch, and we'd gone to the Atlanta Raceway. After the race, we were grilling some ribeyes outside on this little grill. And a drunk patron walks by, and he staggered by us, and he goes, well, I'll be dong, ding-ding-dong, if that ain't a Bubba Grill. And I said, ha-ha.
Got him.
So there you go.
That's where I know.
That's great. Do you still go up to the Speedway any?
I used to a lot. It's hard about the time. We used to go to Bristol twice a year. I loved Bristol. I loved Talladega, and I was a huge Bill Elliott fan. But I've lost some of my passion that I can't figure out which driver's in which car. You know what I mean?
Well, it has changed a little bit. And, of course, some of the people that you were probably fans of have retired and gone on, and there's a lot of new guys. But I do want to tell you that June 28th, they're night racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and there is nothing like a night race.
I need to go
Motor Speedway
because I need to get my 13-year-old's been after me.
You really do.
You guys are a positive thing. I grew up. I don't see how in the world you can only be 29 years old because I grew up my whole life listening to you on the radio. And I start my day in the shop every day with you and Vance and Jimmy Carter. And I started this morning at 6 o'clock when I dropped my little girl off at the prayer breakfast at the Dairy Queen. Me and Justin had a good word. So
yes, sir.
Thanks for letting me share our little bit of our story, and thanks for the positive influence you guys are on our lives every day.
Well, it's been an honor having you.
We can't wait to hear the results from Memphis in May.
Absolutely. I'm going to share it from our Facebook page and blast all the good news.
We need to find a contest and let y'all come and be with us there. Thanks again.
Thank y'all. And as always, if you can do something good, you should do something good. We'll see you guys next week.